Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress Comic News, episode 354. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host here, Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, nothing much. Got an interview today. Shaw Lewis and Ryan Mosley going to be on the show. Talk about their volume 1 coming out of Immortalis.
Yes.
So,
which I made an ass of myself to their PR person because I said, "Hey, can I get the Kickstarter link for this?"
Yeah.
And they told me this is going through Diamond.
Oof. Hey, you never know anymore. Sometimes it goes through both.
But just for everybody out there, like, yeah, you know,
it happens.
This is someone I got to work with for the next few years, so that's gonna be fun.
It's all right. In your defense, you talk to a lot of different people that send you a lot of different books, so I'd forgive you.
I also am just brimming with excitement right now.
Are you?
Yes.
For what?
Because, ladies, your man only wants one thing, and it's the ROM Omnibus Volume 1.
Oh, man. There you go.
Look at it.
Wow. That is pretty glorious.
It's fucking
wow.
Exist, Mike.
Unopened.
Not yet.
That's 2 copies. You bought one to read and one to keep in the packaging forever.
Fuck, I don't make that much money.
That's actually really cool.
No, yeah, I was so excited when I got it.
That's like the first 20 issues or something?
It is issues 1 through 29.
Oh, damn.
And, Mike, Power Fist, or Power Man Iron Fist, number 73.
Oh.
In which Rom is a guest star.
That's cool. Hey, since we're sharing purchases, I snagged this little bad boy off eBay because I scour eBay for graded comics all the time because sometimes you can pick some up at bargain prices. This one, because I love the cover, is Detective Comics number 535. The New Robin Unleashed at Last. But you know why I had to pick this one up? Chris, is a Doug Miach story, Gene Colan and Bob Smith art, but this is a Crazy Quilt story.
Nice.
So that's Crazy Quilt on the cover with all these lovely rainbow colors. And I think I picked it up. I got it. I won a an auction with this. And on right there, there's a DC advertisement, Chris. I don't know if you can read that. It says,
"Oh, for Ronin.
Frank Miller's Ronin the poster. Don't miss it."
Nice.
So, DC advertising Frank Miller's Ronin on the cover. I thought that was pretty cool too. A little piece of time.
Funny you say it's written by Doug Munch.
Yeah.
You know what else Doug wrote that I've been reading? We'll talk in depth about next week.
What's that?
The Adventures of the Planet of the Apes.
All right. Was that? Yeah, this was February 1984. It looks like. Yep. So those, I think that was an 80s book too, right?
76 to 77, I think.
Wow, nice.
But that's the book I've been doing on Retro Reread, and next week will be the last issue. So I'll talk about it on the show in depth then. But yeah, he writes that as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
very cool.
I mean, look it up. Doug did a lot of cool stuff all the years. I've been checking out his catalog.
We'll talk about it a little bit later in the show. Before I forget, I didn't know Masters of the Universe Revolution was written by Tim Sheridan.
I wrote notes while I was watching it this morning, and Tim Sheridan's one of the writers.
It's like, what the hell? Written by Tim Sheridan. I'm only on episode 2, but I was like, where did that come from?
Yeah, he writes 2 and 3, and he's put down as the assistant writer or executive assistant writer or something like that. So I think he was like number 2 to Kev in the writing room is what they're trying to say. That's crazy.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I can't wait to talk about it. I've watched a couple episodes. It was really good. Quick little funny story though. It was Saturday night, and I was on the couch. I get a phone call from a buddy of mine, and Katie's like, "Who the hell's calling you?" And I was like, 8 o'clock on Saturday. We weren't doing anything. She's like, "Who's calling you?" And then I put it on speaker. And
important detail: AM or PM?
PM. Sorry.
Okay.
Saturday night. I mean, I don't do much anyways on Saturday nights or Friday nights. I don't remember. It was one of the weekend nights, whatever. And he goes, "Hey, I'm at Walmart, and they got the Owlman figure here. I said, "Oh man, can you?" He's like, "They got two. I'm grabbing one. Do you want me to grab you one?" And then proceeds to tell me how it's a different color than the other Owlman. And I was like, "Well, this is the exclusive Walmart Owlman from Forever Evil, so it's going to be the blue suit." He's like, "Yeah, it's the blue suit." And then we proceeded to talk about McFarlane action figures for the next like 10 minutes. And then I hung up, and Katie just was looking at me with just the most perplexed. She's like, I don't even know how to touch that conversation. You guys were talking about the intricacies of the action figures. I was like, don't ask.
So, two things to add to that. One, so I texted you a
You
picture of a Walmart exclusive
Hell
Green
yeah,
Lantern.
Yeah, I know.
And it was Alan Scott Green Lantern pop figure, but it was like the comic cover one.
Yeah, I love those.
And I only saw that because I was looking for your Owlman.
Oh, really? So
yeah.
I got feelers out there. Appreciate it. I found one. So
and that just reminds me of that. I guess to the kids it's a TikTok, but for me it's a reel because I'm an old man.
I do
of Henry Cavill at an interview when like, and then another actor just like start talking about Warhammer.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, this is how simple it is for men to make friends.
Yeah. They're like best buds now. Yeah. That's all it is. That's all it is. Yeah. I think I mentioned like comic books one time to a guy at work, and now he just he sends me pictures every time he's out like hunting for action figures. Oh man, I love it. I got an Owlman somewhere. I'll probably get it when I get to work tomorrow.
So you just got the variant, you didn't get the regular.
I just got the variant, I believe. I'll know for sure when I see it. I haven't seen a picture of it yet. I believe I got the new one.
Okay.
But he also had found a Captain Carrot in the wild because, folks, this is Toy Talk. DC released the Captain Carrot figure, which was a collector's edition through McFarlane. But that one's been hard to find. And I think I responded. He started calling me now because I responded too late to that text.
So I didn't know you were looking for Captain Carrot. My local shop, not only does he have Captain Carrot in stock.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. He got like 2 boxes of that line. And there's a Superman in there too. In each box, he got a chase. And one was a all blue chase Superman, like electric blue.
Oh yeah.
And the other one was the chase Captain Carrot, which was it's the same figure, but it's his original coloring.
Oh damn.
Yeah. And then he has like the one that everybody sees, the standard one just on the shelf right now. If I would have known that, I would have told you. And
yeah. It's like I don't need these things, but if people tend to find them, and I'm like, yeah, all right.
It kills me. It's been sitting there for like a month now.
Nobody's bought it.
And every time I'm just like, I should just buy this.
If you're listening to this podcast and you don't know who Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew is, pause it.
Educate yourself.
Because probably the greatest thing to ever come out of DC Comics.
It's phenomenal
and
stuff.
Never get talked about.
I have I don't know if it's a full run. I have the first 11 issues in like pristine condition. Like they're so nice copies that some guy was just selling. And I was like, and he's selling it for dirt cheap. And I'm like, I'll buy a fucking Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew. Why would I not want this?
I think the last time they talked about Captain Carrot too was Convergence. A couple issues.
No, because he was in that Justice League Incarnate.
Oh, he was part of that crew,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. So they use him, but they never telling stories about him. The dude is as powerful as like Superman. Nobody talks.
We need
about
a new Zoo Crew book.
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah,
we need a Zoo Justice League book. That's all we need.
Yeah.
We got Dinosaur Justice League. Why can't we get the Zoo Crew back? They did the Zoo Crew dirty. They did this dinosaur book and not them.
Jurassic League versus the Zoo Crew.
Oh shit. Zoo Crew trapped on Jurassic League Earth or something. Come on, guys. This shit writes itself. Really? Like
printing money.
Yeah, come on. I would buy it. Let's go. All right. I think with that, we'll just jump in the news here, Chris.
All right, let's do it.
Marvel Studios shared some screenshots for the next season of What If. Nice. There we go. So we have
Sam Wilson.
Sam Wilson Cap.
So it'll be the first time Sam's been in What If.
Yep.
I believe this is the one I know you would get excited for.
Dude, those are giant Gundams. Mobile suit Avengers. Is that what that is? That's amazing.
This next one it's the same. So that like trailer we got, or like the clip, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It seems to be from that because we got Red Guardian and Mr. Winter Soldier here.
Very cool.
And then I like this too. It's
Ant-Man.
Giant Man holding
Red Guardian.
Yeah. So
not so tough.
Exciting stuff. I like What If. I always have enjoyed like the comic series, and this animated series has been a lot of fun too. So and to get some of these characters who weren't in the other ones and maybe going a different way with it will be even more fun, because half the fun that I said 1,000 times now.
fun.
Half the fun of What If is like the different characters and throwing them different scenarios. It's not necessarily just like revisiting the same characters over and over again. So,
right. Yeah, that's exciting when they do new stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm all in on What If season 3.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. Yeah. Finally got some news. Invincible season 2 part 2 has a release time frame. It's further away than we thought. Very upsetting. Hopefully we'll get it by the fall of this year.
Yeah, they announced it's gonna be fall, and I'm like, at that point, is it a part 2?
Yeah, why
season 3?
Like, why even release any episodes at all? Like,
I would have rather they waited till fall, just release the whole season. I mean, I know there was a huge gap and they were getting a lot of complaints, but like you take a break for a few months if you're gonna do it in parts. You don't. That's almost a full year, dude.
Yeah, no, that is like a full year.
Yeah. So
it's very strange.
I love the show, but it's been very disappointing, the production. And I get we had fucking writer strikes and all this random shit going on, but like it's been very disappointing.
Yeah.
How long it's taken.
Yeah.
But I will be there when it happens.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's gonna be there when I want to watch it, but damn. So Masters of the Universe Revolution came out, 5 episodes. I think that's only 5 total.
Yes.
So I just finished up the 2nd episode, Chris. Things I like. It's great. I think this might be my favorite of the series so far. The voice cast is phenomenal this season. I mean, you got Mark Hamill back as Skeletor. You have William Shatner voicing the King's brother. I can't think of his name. Like Kron, I think his name is. You have a multitude of people from Game of Thrones voicing people like that have always been in the show. I noticed Jason Mewes was in episode 1.
I think he's been in every season.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I like the whole Skeletor. Skeletor has been getting his ass kicked so many times with magic. Now he's just like, all right, like tech is the way to go. I really like that. He's like, what's magic? It's all about tech. At least with the first couple episodes. I mean, like the whole thing about the father and like He-Man trying to be the king and the hero at the same time. And then like I do like the whole dragon thing where what the sorceress is doing and that whole side story. So for 2 episodes in, I'm really liking it.
So I'll save like spoiler talk for next week so we can talk about it together. I'll just say, because I finished it. So all in all, it's a great season. I still think I have a hard time choosing my favorite, because like,
yeah, they're all good.
Well, for me, 1 is so special because I wasn't a He-Man fan, so I was like, I don't know about this, and I fell in love with it that way.
Yeah,
it's really fucking good. I love the animation in this. I was talking a lot about that Godzilla show where I thought they mixed like CG and traditional really well.
Which I started, by the way, so I now understand what you mean. Yeah, I'm on like episode 2 of that.
And I think this show does it really well too. And the 2 things didn't click because I didn't watch He-Man so long that it didn't click in my brain that was also doing it. So the animation's phenomenal. I'll say the only light spoiler I'll give is like they're not done.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah, there will be more. But yeah, it's an awesome season. If you've enjoyed the other ones, you'll enjoy this. I'll just say, like, I didn't fucking Kev and Tim swinging for the fences trying to get me to cry in fucking episode 1, man. Like,
yeah, that's pretty good.
So it's great. Yeah. But next week when we reconvene, we'll talk more in depth of the story because there's a lot of stuff I'd like to talk about.
Dude, you knew episode 2 was a Tim Sheridan episode when what's his name, Cringer was like, I've always loved being your battle cat my whole life, and I was like, shit, dude.
Yeah. And they bring in some more goofy characters too, like, yeah. I think it's in episode 2, so I'm sorry if this is a spoiler, but like there's a dude with an elephant head that shoots water at people.
First episode, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, when they're trying to get like the soul of like Fister back.
That was the other thing. We got a Fistor reference.
Yeah, Fistor reference. Like, we got to get it back. And like this elephant dude shows up. Yeah, that's the best part about He-Man is like they just bring people in to sell toys.
Yeah, I love the goofy characters, man. They're great.
Yeah. Then there was like a cowboy that was like, I was like, how do you get this cowboy gunslinging laser dude in the middle of Eternia? That's like, yeehaw, go, he's coming at you. I'm like, where does this guy come from?
See, the funny thing there is that I bought entirely. I'm like, sure, cowboy dude with lasers, let's go.
Yeah, okay.
But then I'm just like, can we explain the intricacies of this guy's like internal systems, because his chest opens up and there's just more lasers.
Yeah, he opens his chest and there's lasers. I'm
like I get the toy.
yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, this show's great.
Yeah, it's really good. And Mark Hamill as Skeletor, still so awesome,
so good. I'll say I forget who plays. Never mind. That's later on.
Okay.
There's another voice actor that shows up that I'm like really fucking in love with, and he's a big name. But I honestly think Shatner is my least favorite addition. Not that he's bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's how good the additions are, Matt. Like,
no, yeah. Shatner's really good. Yeah. I wanted to say I almost thought what's his name from Invincible was in it. I can't think of his name. The guy who plays the dad.
Oh, fuck.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, I just think of him, J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, that guy. I thought he was voicing somebody, but I can't remember.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, Commissioner Gordon. Tony Todd was in the first episode as the Skelegor guy. That was awesome. Yeah, or Death, whatever that guy's name.
Dude, that first fight was great too. The way they introed the show.
Yeah, that was sick. Awesome. Yeah, just a day in the life. Delicious in Dungeon episode 4. Caught up on that. What a great episode that was, dude. Clay golems growing vegetables, or rock golems growing vegetables on their backs and then like reharvesting them, and then the orcs showing up and slaughtering everybody. And then like him trading with the orcs. It was just a really good episode overall. Yeah,
so my notes are that we had golem farming,
which is amazing.
Dungeon conservation.
Yep.
And then they cooked a stewed cabbage and turnip salad and made bread.
Yeah. That was awesome.
The recipes are great. I like the whole golem thing. Like the golem farming was really interesting and like kind of very ingenious. Like, there's so much about this series and
the really
manga.
Smart.
Yeah, that's well thought out. And to add to that, like you expect something like this to be, we're having fun with these tropes and like cooking stuff in it, but then they do the whole orc thing and add this layer to the lore of the world.
Yeah,
that's just shooting way above your pay grade.
Yeah, where it's like, you guys, were slaves to you enslaved our people and all that. Shit. I was like, whoa, this got really serious.
And explained like the purpose of the dungeon and how like the person that conquers it's gonna. Dude, this show's so good.
I know.
We got 2 great animated series that I would be shocked if we're not talking about in December.
Yeah. And then you have moments where he's like, the dwarf realizes he can make bread, and he just keeps saying bread, Brad, and they're like trying to have a conversation. He's like, Brad.
Yeah, and like I said dungeon conservation, we didn't really talk about it, but like we get this moment where he's in his like little cubicle that he lives in, and he talks about how he like maintains the dungeon so the ecosystem's working.
Right.
It just brings me back to like my days in conservation class back in like high school and college, and like how one of the important things of like being an outdoorsman is conservation, making sure the ecosystem is run, and you're not just like ruining the ecosystem and everything. And then like this dude's talking about it with fucking ghouls and golems and shit,
skeletons.
It's a really great show.
Yeah, it's very smart writing for sure, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Comic news, everybody. What we're all really here for. A little bit of it. DC Comics released info on their new comic book day title, free comic book day 2024 title. And as usual, it'll be world changing. The one shot promises a new lineup for Teen Titans. Oh no. And a story 30 years in the making, tying 1994's event 0 Hour. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. I never read 0 Hour. I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
I will say, Chris, very interesting. All right, let's break this down for a second.
Okay.
Marvel had something really great going for them in the 90s, a ragtag team of teens in a environment much like the Teen Titans called the X-Men, the animated series in the 90s. Went away, came back as a comic book, really great. People are loving it. Marvel's like the one up they have on DC right now. DC's like, hey, we have a thing that people used to like, a ragtag team of teens that this story that nobody's ever read from the 90s could tie into. And here we are. I mean, I never read 0 Hour. I was never a huge Teen Titans fan. But this doesn't seem like anything anybody was waiting for, really. You know?
It may be interesting enough to like go on Amazon and look at 0 Hour and be like, what is this book and should I pick it up? So in that case, I guess it worked. I didn't buy it, but I mean, it kind of worked because I may buy it. I'm also not a big Teen Titans guy fan, but I will say, like, we're going to talk about Beast World a little bit later. I'm really loving that book.
Me too.
I am honestly shocked. I can't remember when we talked about it, but there was like a leak that they were going to bring back the Justice League sooner than we thought. And I think it was supposed to be over last summer, and that never happened. So I am shocked at like the patience they've had to not do that. And it seems like this is something to add into that because we're going to get more Teen Titans stuff moving forward. It could also mean that this is the end of this whole Teen Titans experiment and we're going to bring Justice League back. But I just don't know enough about 0 Hour to make any kind of proclamations about it.
And maybe, I mean, this could be spinning out of what's going on at Beast World, if that's part of it.
I mean, definitely. Teen Titans are the main team here. Like, they're the center of the DC universe right now. I still don't see reading them week to week. I'm just not that interested in the characters. But if the events keep being this good, I'm there. I'm sure I'll be there for this one. That's really all I gotta say. I mean, I just want to see more of what it is. To tell me it's tied into a book I've never read before, it doesn't do much for me.
No, it doesn't do much. So I guess we'll find out.
And just to be fair to everybody out there, like, I was never a big DC guy, so a lot of the this is kind of a more obscure DC event. I did try to go back and read some of the, like, I've read all the crises and stuff, and I know this is technically a crisis, but whatever.
Yeah, not as big, I would say.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Oni Press has given us more information about the NacelleVerse initiative and what to expect. There it is. Of the 0-issue one shot. The first series will come is a 3-issue series of RoboForce starting in May, then Biker Mice from Mars in July, and Sectars and the Power Lords to come later in this year. RoboForce will be written by Melissa Flores with art by Diogenes Neves. Yeah, and that art for the RoboForce. Oh yeah, I love that. The toy cover. This does look like a pretty cool book, just from the covers.
I'm interested in what they're doing here.
Yeah, and not something I would like be crazy about, but I might check this out.
Yeah, like I kind of want to check out NacelleVerse 0 just to see what's happening here. But I just have no connection to RoboForce. I have a connection to Biker Mice from Mars. I remember that cartoon.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember any of these.
And then just reading up on it, like this is one initiative for NacelleVerse. There's also like this whole animated universe they want to create, and like Dwayne Johnson's connected and Ryan Reynolds and shit. This is going to be crazy when
That's
it all
weird.
comes out. But
yeah, it is
I
kind
don't
of.
know. I like the covers.
Yeah, the covers look really cool. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see when the NacelleVerse issue 0 comes out.
Yeah, I need to know what's going on here. Yeah. Boom Studios announced a new limited series coming this May called Uncanny Valley. The series is about a young boy who has the ability to see cartoonish characters in the world. It is thrust into a murder mystery. Uncanny Valley will be written by Tony Fleeks with art by Dave Watcher. Cool, Tony's doing that. It looks like a really interesting book because you definitely have like Wile E. Coyote and Elmer Fudd.
And Ryu.
Yeah, like basically a lot of cartoon knockoffs of things that we know. Yeah, it looks pretty fun.
The basic premises reminds me of Something Epic, a book from last year.
Okay, I never read that one.
Yeah, which was a kid who could like his superpower was imagination, so he could see like imagination was basically another dimension, and then everything we created with our imagination lived in that dimension. You and I couldn't see it, but he could. And what was cool about that book was every so often you would see distinctive knockoffs of Superman fighting Goku, or like, Tinkerbell would be like with him while he was drawing and all this stuff. I think the only difference here to there was that book was very, very like introspective and serious about like a kid whose mom was dying of cancer.
Right.
It was a really good book, don't get me wrong. And this one seems to want to have more fun with the premise. So I'm really interested in this book personally.
I don't think it's a coincidence either that the main character looks just like Shaggy, especially with like the green polo and everything. Like,
well, and like I guess the murder mystery involves those crows. So, like, yeah, we're not talking about something. It's almost a Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
with
a Shaggy doing a murder mystery on his own.
Yeah, so
yeah,
I'll be in for it.
It looks like fun. Tony Fleek's doing good stuff this year. So
yeah.
New independent comic publisher Magma Comix has announced their first lineup of comics, and they have partnered with Diamond Distribution. The comics will be available as part of their first wave are as follows. This one sounds really, really interesting, and it looks friggin' awesome. The infamous Jackson Lanzig and Colin Kelly with art by Iman Winkle on a book called The Principles of Necromancy. I'm already in, especially with that insane cover.
So you can stop there. I'm buying it.
Yeah, I will not talk about the description, but we will. The City King has driven the barbarian hordes to the edge of the world, ushering in an age of reason and medicine. But in the dark woods beyond his reach, where the last pagans still keep their ancient ways, a single man of civilization is about to show the true meaning of medical miracle. His goal, to overcome death itself. And God help the man or king who stands in his way. Yeah, looks fucking insane. I love it.
I mean, first, Lanza and Kelly, I'm buying the book. Like, that's it.
Hands down.
It kind of sounds to me like we're getting a D&D Frankenstein book.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. So this is a huge swing for a new publisher.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty big swing, yeah.
And I like their Pennsylvania based, which I don't think there's another major publisher in Pennsylvania, so like
cool.
Good on them.
Yep.
And yeah, this book sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then that's just the first book in the lineup.
Yeah.
So
the second one, Silicone Bandits, written by Jason Starr, with art by Dalibor Talajic. In a near future where automation has caused mass unemployment, programmers Kenji and Aurora's careers seem safe. But when they're suddenly fired, the couple hatches a desperate plan, assemble the perfect heist crew out of androids they programmed. The ensuing crime spree goes perfectly until betrayal and sentience emerge, and equally devastating turns. This one, not so much, not so crazy about.
Really, I mean, I guess, yeah, it doesn't fit your taste as well, but for me, I think this sounds dope.
I'm more hyped for a necromancy book for sure.
Yeah, and I tend to be more of a sci-fi person. Plus, you're talking about a heist. We're also down in my neck of the woods.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's weird to push this out of everything, but like I love the logo.
No, I do really. Yeah, that's pretty awesome in itself.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think I mean, Jason's done work with Marvel, and I think Image. I don't think he's been at DC, but he's done work with Marvel. He's done like some like B tier Spider-Man books and everything. So he's a pretty big name as well. Not at the level of Lanzig and Kelly, but still. I think Wave 1, I'm probably in on both books. So
now I guess the question is if they'll be made available digitally.
That is a question, yes. I don't know.
I don't know. We got to ask Lanzig and Kelly. Get them on here.
Yeah, they got to get back on.
Especially if they're independent publisher, maybe they'll be available. I'm not sure.
It's kind of hit or miss with that because I've talked to some publishers where they literally have told me it's just not worth their time.
Which is like, how hard is it to upload a PDF?
I'm with you on that personally. I don't know. I understand that it is time and money that's spent, but it's just I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, I talked to, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but I talked to a independent creator who didn't offer a digital version on his Kickstarter, and I asked why. And he said that he would get one, maybe two people that bought it, so it was no longer worth his time to do it. And I always personally, I feel like, well, it's an investment in the future because then down the line, when you're 4 or 5 issues in, somebody can just buy the PDF of all of them. I also am just like, I know how the PDFs are made, and is it really that much more work to like make a digital ready one as opposed to a print ready one?
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think you're seeing a lot of the smaller publishers kind of pull out of the whole indie or the whole digital thing, which is unfortunate, but
yeah,
it just says it's available at your local comic shop on the press release. So that says to me there's no digital version. But, and this is the other thing with these kind of publishers. So, oh my God. Sorry, I'm going through and they have this picture of Lanzig and Kelly that just made me laugh.
Oh, really?
Most likely, they're going to send out review copies to people, right?
Right.
We might be lucky enough to be one of them. So you have a digital copy already.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't think about that.
But we'll see. I want to see if I can pull up this picture so I can show you. It's so fucking funny.
I'm excited for Lanzig and Kelly to have their own creator-owned thing.
Yeah, they've done some in the past, but it's been a while.
This sounds really cool.
Yeah. 1 second. I know this is like vamping on air, but this is the picture that made me laugh.
Oh my God. The Pulp Fiction one.
That's their official press release photo.
I was gonna say that should be. That's hilarious.
I love those guys.
Yeah, they're good people.
Yeah.
For the third week in a row, IDW has released new info on the soft reboot of TMNT. The first 4 issues will have a different artist attached to each issue, with number 1 being drawn by Joel Jones and featuring Raphael. Issue 2 will be Raphael Albuquerque. Oh shit, featuring Michelangelo. Issue 3 will be drawn by Cliff Chang, featuring Leonardo, and Spotlight issue being drawn by Chris Burnham, featuring Donatello. Following these issues, 4 through 8 will be drawn by Raphael Albuquerque, who's an amazing artist. We talk about all the time, but all of those guys are amazing artists. Jason Aaron writing it, if you guys didn't forget. And you can see right there, all 3 different character designs, I think, fit them perfectly. Like Chris Burnham art on Donatello, like, holy shit. That's insane. This looks so cool.
It's funny, when I was reading the press release, I was like, Chris Burnham on Turtles? I don't know. And then I saw that image. Yeah. And it's more of a blown up version of it, so you can really get a good look at it. I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah, that's going to be a really good book. I'm probably in it for these first 4 issues for sure.
Yeah, I am too. I'm definitely diving into the Turtles for this. I personally, like, Raphael's great, Cliff's great. These are all great artists. The one who I never get to read, who I really love, is Joelle Jones. Because she does a lot of, like, she's done a lot of Catwoman and stuff over the years.
Yeah, she's got great art. Yep.
And I'm just, I don't know. The characters she touches at DC are never the ones that, like, I'm into. So, yeah, I'm excited for her to be on it. I'm also wondering, because they specifically said Raphael is going to be doing the art for the next 4 issues, to issue 8. So does that mean these 4 are going to interchange for 4-issue stints?
Oh, maybe.
Or what's going to happen?
I know Joelle Jones' art on Raphael looks fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then it's weird to see, like, Chris Burnham doing Donatello is not what you'd think, but, like, that looks really good. And then you have the 2 in the center, like Michelangelo and Leonardo. Like, I think Cliff Chang went with like a classic Turtles look for the comic.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, if you do, let's say it's these 4. I don't know if it is or not. This is just my prediction. But the tenor of the story can change based on the art too, because when you have Cliff doing it with that style, you can kind of go more lighthearted and do like a traditional Turtles story. But when you have Joelle Jones doing that fucking muscle bound, angry Turtles, you could get more serious and so on and so forth. So there's just, if they do that, there's so much potential as to what the book could be moving forward and changing all the time. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it looks really cool. This definitely increases the hype of this book for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about what we read this week, Chris. I had a lot that I had to catch up on, so I still have a lot, but I read a few books here. Could not pass up on reading Titans Beast World number 5.
No, you could not.
Yeah, this a lot of things happen in this issue. Waller pretty much is like, this dude sacrificed himself, the one that she threw into the Starro to like kill it. And she makes herself look great, and she's like, oh, now we have to kill the 1 million infected people so it doesn't affect anybody else. We'll start corralling them into like camps or like, pushing them to the edge. And so the Titans are like, that's kind of fucked up. So they go and stop the plan. The whole fight with Peacemaker and Nightwing was a lot of fun. Where Peacemaker's like, the only thing you don't protect is your head, and then he like twists his helmet around like Knox.
Yeah, why don't you wear a helmet?
Yeah, it was pretty good. The whole thing of like, she set that up to make them look like villains because they like hacked into the government, which Cyborg can do at like any time.
And the weight of that decision by Nightwing was done really well.
Yeah, that was really good. And then we find out that Dr. Hate was not who I thought it was, because we had the whole fight with Dr. Fate and Raven, or Dr. Hate and Raven, not Fate, sorry. And then the reveal at the end of the issue is Dr. Hate looks like an older or maybe alternate evil version of Raven.
Yeah, so I was a little confused by that, because I was like, it's either future Raven, or it's Raven's mom. Do we know? I mean, I don't. Excuse my ignorance here, but like, I don't know who Raven's mom is. So
no, I think Raven's mom is just a nobody. That she's the daughter of like Trigon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So probably a future Raven then.
Yeah, it looks like a future Raven to me.
That gave into the
crystal or the evil
stone.
Yeah, the stone. Yeah. Which was really cool. I'm interested to see that. Like, what world does she come from? If she's multiverse or if she's comes from a future, like, what does that future look like? Is it the future where Garth is dead, and so that's what sets her off to become that?
Well, and going back to the whole 0 Hour conversation from earlier, like what little I do know is that 0 Hour does involve time travel of some sort.
Interesting. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
So
You're right.
This could be part of that whole, like, whatever that future 0 Hour story is, could be like the conclusion to this.
Mm-hmm.
At least this story beat. Yeah, I love this issue. I think the part that got a visceral reaction out of me was Amanda Waller when they're like, "This is the hero, and she's the one that saved us from." And then she goes on this speech that, not to get super political here, but like just reminded me of like being in high school and listening to these fucking warmongers being like, "Oh, we have to bomb them."
Yeah,
we have to. Like, we have to kill these million people.
Yeah,
like,
we have to kill them all. That's we're to protect everybody.
And yeah, if there's one thing in this world I hate the most, it's those people.
Yeah.
So like that whole speech really got a reaction out of me. And then I'm really interested to see how they end it. Like,
yeah,
is it going to be like everybody saved? Are we going to have like some people stay as a monster or a beast or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so invested in the ending of the story.
It's really good. It keeps getting better and better for sure.
Yeah. This is probably the biggest surprise of the year for me in terms of a book that I would never.
Yeah, great surprise. Taylor killing it. Ray Ivan Reyes art amazing.
Oh.
Batman Neo-Gothic number 6, the finale of the Lansing Kelly Dunbar book. I think it was a good ending. He kind of resolves everything. Constantine has his redemption where he takes all his curses back as he's dying, so he doesn't look like so much of a piece of shit. Terry gets Gotham involved with these, like, they have, the backup light tracing stuff where, some of the people in Gotham can fight back and get these bat suits to fight everything. And that's kind of where they like leave off at the end. They do mention that the villain, Mr. Light, I can't remember his name, whatever his name was, has disappeared. So they don't know where he is. I'm sure that won't ever come up again.
No, he's gone forever.
Yeah. And it kind of wraps everything up nicely. These 6 issue stories that they're doing are they're great story arcs. They're interesting looks at the characters and different things that we haven't seen in Batman Beyond before. So no, I really liked it.
I already talked in depth about that book, so I loved it too. But
yeah. Army of Darkness number 4. Speaking of Tony Fleeks, this is the book that he's been doing that I've been really enjoying. Greenwood on the art. So again, there's 3 timelines going on. Ash is looking for the pages in the future, and now he's like traveling around with this robot, and that turns into a ray gun for him, which is pretty awesome scene to happen. So his boomstick doesn't work. He doesn't have his boomstick, so now he has a laser rifle. Nice. The present day one is evil Ash, and he's like learning how to use the internet from one of his employees at work, but he's like starting to like him and befriend him, and like the evil, like, in his head is like, what do you want to be friends with this guy? So you can see he's like going through this struggle of like, well, this guy's being nice to me. So that's a fun story. And then in the Middle Ages, we have the princess with the wizard. They go to, like, they're talking about the book, and he like knows that the cult was sacrificing somebody, and she's like, well, how do you know about all this info? And he disappears. So either the wizard was evil or like wasn't the actual wizard that he said he was, and like disappears and is probably going to do some bad stuff. This has been a great series. I think it's a good jumping on point for anybody that's like a big fan of Army of Darkness, because this kind of just starts right off and splits into 3 different stories that are a lot of fun. So
cool.
And then Fantastic Four number 16. We're 16 issues into this. Damn. This is North and Mortarino on the art, which I don't think Mortarino was doing the art before. It's just a fun issue. It's like another one-off issue. The kids are back, so they go to school. They do a science project. They're like really popular at school because they're Fantastic Four kids. They do this science experiment that goes wrong. They need their parents' help, and they kind of resolve it in the end. it was a fun story. This series has been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it. So, and that's all I had this week.
All right, some cleanup from last week.
Yep.
The Deviant number 3 came out. It's really good, but it's kind of a flashback story. So the only disappointment there was that we didn't really get the way last issue ended. Issue 2 ended, left in a big cliffhanger, and now I got to wait another month to resolve that. But I'm sure there's a reason for that. But good book altogether. The Bloody Dozen, A Tale of the Shrouded College number 2 came out. And this was a whole montage of them learning like how they're going to work as a team and run the spaceship and everything. And then they shoot off and it's them like trying to get along in space when they found, and we get the backstory of like how the Shrouded College originally created the base around the moon to hold the vampires. And we also learn that another vessel is heading towards it, and that's kind of the cliffhanger at the end is, oh, we're not the only ones coming. That's why they rushed us here. So good book. So I really enjoyed Duke. So I checked out Cobra Commander number 1, which is the other G.I. Joe book by Joshua Williamson.
Yeah, I saw that came out.
And it's literally just an origin story of like this guy who works for this basically cult that's Cobra. And he gets sent out into basically the real world to figure his shit out after he fails a mission for them. And this is Cobra Commander, and it's him basically working his way into how he's going to take over Cobra and use it to fight against people and turn it into a domestic terrorist group.
Okay.
But
nice.
It's pretty good. I mean, it didn't reach the level of Duke for me because Duke is very hyper specific, like down my lane.
Right.
But I did enjoy it. So I'll continue reading it. The Weatherman, Volume 3, number 1 came out. And
nice.
I love The Weatherman. That series is so good in every way.
Yep.
This is it's been a few years since the book's come out. This is going to be the last volume of it. And they took a lot of this issue. Half of it's kind of catch up. Like, all right, this is where we were. This is where we're at. And the other half is backstory of Nathan and how he became this like intergalactic terrorist and his like ascendance to that. And it's all done with some of the other characters talking to each other and figuring out how they're going to capture them. So I'm really happy this book's back. This is one of my favorite books.
I forgot about that book completely. Yeah, it was a really good story.
Yeah, I saw it got announced and I was through the roof. I'm like, I couldn't believe that they're actually going to finish it. Yeah, so that book's back. Capwolf and the Howling Commandos number 4 came out, and it's really good. It's Capwolf fighting wolf Nazis. I mean,
oh yeah. What more do you want?
It ends, and then in typical fashion, it does leave a kind of a door that could be a sequel, or it could just be, well, we all know Capwolf happens again because there's a 90s story that this is based on.
Right.
So I wouldn't mind either way. It's dumb fun, and I had a blast with it. James Bond 007 number 1. This is a new series that Garth Ennis is writing.
Oh, interesting.
And what I love about it first is there's this whole intro where like there's these people that are planning to assassinate Bond because he assassinated somebody. And it's, you think this is going to be the big bad. Like he draws the scene out for a while.
Yeah.
And then Bond comes in, murders them all. And is just like, yeah, I figured I'd take care of this before like he became a problem. And then goes back and we find out what the actual story is.
That's pretty great.
Which is, I mean, in typical fashion, like Bond has to go on a mission that involves an older agent and how he's tied into this this weapon that weaponizes water and can kill people just by filling it up with water. So it's like
do you think that's a shot at Quantum of Solace?
It might be, yeah.
I can see Garth Ennis doing something like that.
Probably, yeah. But it's literally like this thing happens and it doesn't really blow up. It just kind of like immediately crystallizes and kills anybody that's in its like radius.
Oh, that's cool.
So they're considering it the most dangerous weapon in the world because there's fucking water everywhere.
Yeah, it's like the plot to the Dark Knight, or no, the Batman Begins, right? With they try to like vaporize water everywhere.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
So, yeah, if you like James Bond and you like what Dynamite's been doing with James Bond books, it's not really breaking the mold too much. It does have a little Garth Ennis flavor to it, but that's a good thing. So
cool.
Superman number 10. We got Superman in the Wild West with what the hell's her name? Madam Moon or
Starlight or
something like that. And we get kind of her backstory as to why she exists and what's happening with her. And then they have to fight somebody that I was hoping Jonah Hex was going to show up because we're in the Wild West. I mean, you got to do Jonah Hex, right? They don't do it.
Oh, man. Of course not.
But we do find somebody that escaped Superman and fled to the past. And Superman remembers this, goes to find him, and that's his kind of ticket to the present. And then while doing that, he can right a wrong of like this guy being free. And then he makes a promise to the whatever her name is and says, listen, I'll find a way, because she's actually a spirit that's been brought back and is basically forced to come out through moonlight.
Oh,
and all she wants to do is like go back to heaven or wherever was at.
Yeah.
The afterlife, let's just say that. And he makes a promise to solve it. And then in the meantime, goes back and we kind of get the intro to what the next big bad's going to be, which is that squad with the guy with chains and like the two brothers that were kind of behind the scenes.
Dr. Sickle or whatever their names are. Yeah.
Yeah. They capture Superman and are like, our plan all along was to kill Lex and we want you to join us. And I don't know if you know anything about Superman, Mike, but I don't think he's going to join them.
I have a hard feeling about that. Yeah. I don't think he's going to do it.
We'll see. It was a good issue.
Yeah. I am liking this story. I haven't read that one yet.
Punisher number 3. It's funny because on the cover it shows a vampire, and I don't think there's a vampire in this book.
Oh man!
But Punisher gets in a fight with. It's funny because the characters have been like Z-list fucking Marvel villains that are just blatant Batman ripoffs.
That's awesome.
So I think we talked about last issue was like a Clayface ripoff.
Yeah.
This is if Scarecrow was a lizard person, because she's like a lizard person, but she has like a fear gas.
Yeah.
And
so
she sends
Croc.
yeah, with fear gas.
Yeah, Killer Croc
Killer Scarecrow.
Killer Croc Crow or something. I don't know. Scarecrow. There you go.
But yeah, so it sends Punisher into this tizzy. He's in the fear gas. He sees his like family melting and dying.
Of course.
And like any good Punisher or Batman, he's able to overcome it and then fights the bad guy and kills him.
Nice.
And kind of the B story is that the detectives that have been following him find this whole thing happening and they try to arrest him, and they come to terms that like we should work together to finish this, then we'll deal with the whole legality of it all. And then the C story is the woman that's helping Punisher behind the scenes gets captured, and we find out that the person behind all of this is none other than Jigsaw, because it's not a Punisher story without Jigsaw, Mike.
Of course.
Star Wars Thrawn-Alliances number 1 came out based on the Timothy Zahn novel, and I was happy to see that Timothy Zahn is actually getting writing credits for these now.
Cool.
Basically, so Thrawn is forced to work with Vader to go find something on this a disturbance in the Force on this planet. How every great Star Wars story starts. And we find out that they had worked together in the past during the Clone Wars. And important note, Thrawn knows that Vader is Anakin. And in the time frame, nobody else knows this. So like Vader doesn't like Thrawn because he sees him as a threat. So they're forced to go back and figure out what this threat is. and it goes back and forth between the present and the past during the Clone Wars when they met on this planet and they worked together to try to save Padme, who got captured on the planet. So we got kind of a two-tier story here. That's a lot of fun. I read the novel, so I know it's a great story. I think the art in this is really good, and I like the way they set it up in the comic. I don't think you need to know a ton about Thrawn. The most important thing there is that Thrawn knows he's Anakin, that Vader's Anakin. Other than that, it's very new reader friendly.
Cool.
And then my final book is Ghost Machine #1.
Nice. What'd you think?
50-50.
Okay. I'll let you know when I read it.
So I'm gonna rip this Band-Aid off real quick for you, Mike.
Yeah.
It's advertised as having a Brad Meltzer story in it. There's no fucking Brad Meltzer story in this, Mike.
Wait, what?
There's 3 Jeff Johns stories, and 2 Peter J. Tomasi stories. And that's it.
So tweet at them and be like, guys, where's the Brad Meltzer story?
A little disappointed off the bat. Now, I understand Brad Meltzer is a part of this Ghost Machine thing, so maybe that's what they were trying to communicate. But like, I took it as Brad Meltzer as a story in this book.
Yeah.
So a little disappointed there. And then in the intro, it says creators, and it lists them all, and Brad Meltzer's one of them. So, like I said, I'm a little disappointed by that, but we've got the unnamed story, which basically ties all of his books together.
Mm-hmm.
So we find out they're all on a timeline. So Redcoat is, I'll talk a little bit more about him in a second, but he's an immortal. So even though he takes place during revolutionary times,
he's still alive.
He's just alive. Yeah.
Makes sense.
And Geiger's kind of the main villain here, almost. Like he's seen as this big villain. And we see that he's kind of going across the wasteland trying to figure out how to cure himself. And along the way is going to have to take out like a bunch of bounty hunters and crime bosses. So that was interesting. Redcoat was another story. It's basically his origin of like he's immortal and he knows Davy Crockett and all these other random people.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of what he's doing. And I like the fact that he's immortal, but like if he's killed, he looks like he's dead. And then the joke is every time he wakes up, somebody's trying to rob his corpse.
Oh.
And they get freaked out because he just wakes up.
That's funny.
So I like that. Rook. So I'm sorry, 4 Jeff Johns stories. Rook is basically a sci-fi story where we have these farmers on another planet that left Earth for this terraformed planet and were promised by this corporation that they would be able to build a civilization there. And like any good corporation, they lied. And adventures ensue. That one really interests me. I like the character designs because all the characters have a mask that is based around an animal. And like one of the guys is a pig farmer, so he wears a pig mask.
Oh, okay.
I was really interested in that. The 2 Tomasi stories I didn't care for, but I think you're going to like the Rockefellers.
Okay.
Because it's a family of time travelers.
Oh, cool.
And then Hornsberry and Halo was another Tomasi story. I just didn't really care for it personally. And then Hyde Street was the horror one. I don't think this story gave me enough to like or dislike it, is my problem. Like it kind of just gave you the premise that there's this street called Hyde Street and like bad things happen on it. And then that's it.
Like Jekyll and Hyde.
So yeah, it didn't really give me a good idea of what the book will be. Now I'll probably try it out because I've enjoyed all the stuff that Johns has done independently so far. But the other 3, I mean, first Geiger we have a history with, so of course I'm going there.
Yep.
Redcoat, Revolutionary War stuff, like I'm down. And then Rook it looks like a cool sci-fi story with awesome Jason Fabok art.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's another thing. Gary Frank, Jason Fabok, and then Brian Hitch does the Redcoat story. So no shortest of great artists, Mike.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. If you're interested in this world, picked this up. I think especially the first 3 stories for me got me interested. So it did its job.
Cool.
For the most part.
Yeah, I got to catch up on all that.
Yeah. So, Mike, that was everything I had this week. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
We can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter. Also, I'm sorry, you can find the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter. You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter. And you can also find us at fortresscomicnews.com. You can give us the 5-star review on Podcatchers if you want to support the show. Like, subscribe, share, comment down below in the YouTube version, or go over to Patreon at patreon.com/fortresscomics. And if you want to support me personally further, there's chriscomicscorner.substack.com. Thank you all so much for watching and or listening this week, and we'll see y'all here next week.
See ya.